Hey y'all, me again, Sam Goodman. How you doing today? Welcome to another episode of, you guessed it, Hey y'all with Sam Goodman. I hope that you are doing absolutely splendid wherever you find yourself in this crazy world. Things are going really good here, man. I gotta tell you, weather is nice here in Phoenix. This is the time of the year that I absolutely I love it. It's perfect. Phoenix turns to like this horrible hellscape during the summer months. So you can probably imagine, right? You can just imagine how fucking disgusting the heat here is in Phoenix in the summertime. But it's like this really stupid practical joke that God played on this area to make Phoenix perfect like 85 to 90% of the year, but make summers absolutely, completely unbearable. If you haven't been here in like July, August-ish, it's like 120 degrees in the shade. And like the air blows and it's like holding up a hairdryer to your face. Like you roll down the window on your car and it's just like two massive hairdryers. If you open your windows, it's like two massive hairdryers just blowing into your car. It's horrible. It's horrible. Like you go out into town and they've got like oven mitts that are sewn onto doorknobs so you don't get second and third degree burns from touching a doorknob that's in the sun. Like you touch it and if it's in the sun, it will blister your hands. It's a cruel fucking practical joke, God. It absolutely is. It just can't be perfect, right? Nothing is permitted to be perfect in the world. So the rest of the year though is amazing. It's like 60, 70 degrees, rarely a cloud in the sky. Every now and again, we'll get a little monsoon action or a little haboob. You can go check out a haboob if you want to. Go Google Phoenix haboob if you don't know what I'm talking about. I'll leave you that homework for those folks that are not here. You can go check that out. But the rest of the year, other than that goddamn forsaken summer, it's absolutely wonderful. So that's a big long rant to tell you that the weather's nice. The weather's absolutely perfect right now. I got open the windows. I just let the cool air in. I don't even have to turn on the central air. Just leave it off. Turn on a fan if it gets a little warm. Leave the windows open at night. Just that perfect cool air just filling the house. So like upstairs, downstairs, I can open up a window upstairs, open up some windows downstairs, and just let it waft through the house. And you know how for me, that's like the greatest time of the year because it's kind of the same when you're back east or you're in an area where it gets cold and you've got everything kind of batten down the hatches. Everything's kind of shut down, right? And it feels like you get all this stale air built up in your house, right? And you just can't wait to just let the house air out. Let it breathe, right? You get that nice cool air going through the house. Oh, mwah, it's perfect right now. I absolutely love it. Let's not waste any time. Before we get into this podcast, though, do me a favor, head over to horsemedia.co. You can check out merch from this show, merch from the other shows. You can check out the other shows, the Hop Nerd Podcast or Really Fucking Scary Stories, which has a season coming up here in a few months. That's our seasonal paranormal true crime thingy that we do. You can also check us out on YouTube at the Pale Horse Media channel. Go check out all the stuff, The Hop Nerd. Just search The Hop Nerd. It's the Hop Nerd 1 on Twitter. And obviously I'm on LinkedIn. I'm kind of everywhere. So make sure you go follow along. Oh, check out the Instagram. I just have the handle The Hop Nerd. So just go follow along. I try to post there probably more than just about anywhere else. But in the spirit of not wasting time, let's jump right into some Never Have I Ever. I wanted to throw this in here and maybe we'll throw in some questions too, but these are questions. So I don't know why I hadn't thought about just doing like kind of like Never Have I Ever, but let's do some of these. Never have I ever tasted cat food. So I have not tasted cat food. Never have I ever been to a strip club. I have been to a strip club. So I have in my younger formative years. It's like a rite of passage, I think, to go to like really sketchy, dangerous bars and strip clubs and things like that. Never have I ever gotten sick from food or alcohol. Well, that kind of goes to the last one, I think, and if so, what kind? So I have this love-hate relationship with Jägermeister. And I know when I said that, there's like a few people that just kind of like threw up in their mouths when I said Jägermeister, but I like it. I've always liked Jägermeister. So let me say this let me go a little bit farther. I do not like whiskey. Like, I'm like the anti-whiskey person. Like, if whiskey touches my tongue, I'm like, bleh, like it's done. Like, I just can't do it. Like, I've tried some really, really fine, exquisite whiskey, and I'm like, no. So I can sip on some moonshine, and I corn liquor. I know that's a kind of a whiskey, I guess. I can do that. I can do rum, vodka, all that stuff. But something about whiskey, like if you give me like a bottle of Jameson, Jack Daniels, anything, you just go with like the nicest whiskey that you can. I went to this cigar bar whiskey tasting thing when I was in Vegas a while back, like a year or so ago, 2 years ago, and even with that, it's like this really fancy flight of whiskey, and I'm like, I just can't do it. I just cannot do it. Cigars, I can do some nice cigars all day long. I can do that all day long, but I cannot do whiskey. So I guess back to the story is that, yes. So growing up where I grew up, it was like this rite of passage that I grew up rural, obviously. Rural. There we go. Rural. I grew up rural, and there's this rite of passage to where you haven't graduated from childhood to adulthood unless you find yourself passed out, face down in a field somewhere, right? Because we didn't have places to go. And that was the best place to have a kegger. That was the best place to have a party, right? Everybody get in your trucks. Everybody go out in the middle of a field in the middle of fucking nowhere, build a bonfire, right? Somebody's going to go grab a bunch of pallets. They're going to go grab a bunch of stuff. If you're going to a real redneck party, they're killing Mother Earth. They're going out and they're getting tires. They're having a tar fire, right? But you end up in a field drinking copious amounts of alcohol, and you eventually pass out face down in the field, and you wake up when the sun comes up, right? You get right borderline of alcohol poisoning, and then boom, you're an adult. That's just how that works when you're from the country, right? But so the kind of chosen drink of choice for me through most of those formative years was Jägermeister. I don't drink that much anymore. It's more on like just an occasional special occasion thing, and it's probably been like 10 years since I've even had a taste of Jägermeister. But I got so drunk one night on bought this half gallon of Jägermeister, and then you swing by the Walmart and you get you like a big old the big pack of Red Bull, because of course you have to mix those two together. That's completely safe, right? And you basically drink, between you and maybe another person, you share the half gallon and you split the Red Bull. So by the time you're done, you've drinking, you've taken in a half gallon of Jägermeister and like 8 Red Bulls. That's a winning combination. Trust me. Totally just, yeah, there you go. You're on the fucking moon at that point. And yeah, Jägermeister and Red Bull taste pretty nice, actually, going in. It is not nice coming out. I'll just leave that there. That's the story that comes to mind. That's what years back. I was at a friend's house, and they had some type of like cinnamon. It's not Fireball. This was before like the Fireball thing happened. I think this was before Fireball. I don't know if it existed, but no one was aware of it at that time. It wasn't like a thing, right? This is like this bright bright red, like alcohol. I think there was like a brand, was it like Aftershock or something like that made something similar. It's like that cinnamon, red, syrupy, kind of some type of grain alcohol mixed with cinnamon. This was in a bottle, and it had like this kind of like sugar crystallized rock candy in the bottom of it. But like you take one drink and you're like, oh my fuck, that's good. That's good. And then when you're like, 18, 19, yeah, hashtag underage drinking, you're like, oh, I could just drink the whole thing. And then you do. And this was like middle of December snowstorm in the mountains, way back when, as I said. And after drinking that, the cinnamon in that just instantly like made me feel like I was on fire. So I go outside, I go like face down in the snow trying to cool down from this fucking cinnamon moonshine concoction something, and eventually get sick and I'm wearing like a white shirt, and you're talking like blood red alcohol, and it looks like I murdered somebody. Like it was, looking back on it, it was hilarious because everyone's like, oh my God, where are you cut? What happened? Because I'm like covered in red stuff, and I smell like I work at like a big red gum factory, right? I smell like I work in a cinnamon factory. So it just hilarious. Yeah. So those two stories are the things that absolutely come to mind when it comes to, I guess, alcohol stories. Food, not so much. I don't think I take that back. I was traveling for work, and I'd mentioned before, I've talked about this, that comfort food for me is like really good greasy Chinese food. And I found like a Chinese buffet, and it was like one of those super mega buffets, right? And I'd been traveling all day, and they were getting close to closing time, which is never good. So I don't know how you feel about it, but for me, like if I'm going to a restaurant and let's say it's like 8 and they close at 8:30 or 9, I'm like, nope, not enough time. Sorry. I'm not going to be that person. I'm just not. The food's never is good, right? Service always sucks because you're like, dude, get the fuck out of here. We're trying to leave in 30 minutes. We just clean the kitchen. And I don't like being that person. I'm not the person that will walk in and be like, well, it's 9:45 and you don't close till 10. You better give me some chicken, right? That's not, I can't do it. I'm way too considerate. It can be like 7 p.m. Like they close at 9. I don't know. It's kind of pushing it. So I get into town. I'm traveling to a little town in New Mexico for work. I get into this little town. I'm looking around. There's not a lot open. Like I'm not like a huge fast food fan. And I'm like, I want some fucking Chinese food. I want a Chinese buffet. And they don't have any real like late night options. It's like 9 o'clock. This buffet closes at like 9:30. Right? Like I'm doing it. I got to do it. I'll just take whatever's left. I told them that. I'm like, I go in. I go to sit down. There's stuff, out. They're starting to clean other stuff up. I'm like, just whatever you got left. Just you don't have to cook anything for me. Apparently, I got something that had been there for a while because I got violently ill the next day, and it was like, it's this. I've never had food poisoning since. I had thought that I had food poisoning before. Whatever I had before that was not food poisoning. So if you think that you've had food poisoning and you haven't, you'll find out if you ever get it. Like it was one of those things. It's like when people tell you they get a toothache and you've not had one and you don't know what it's like until you get one. It's kind of like that. It's like next level insane. Like I thought I was going to die. Like I really felt like I was, that's the closest to death that I have ever felt. So there you go. There's just some like getting sick, puke stories, I guess stuff that, there you go. It doesn't get any better than that, does it? Never have I ever farted in an elevator. Look, anyone that says that they have not farted in an elevator, that's just not true. This continues to say, never have I ever farted in an elevator and then blamed it on someone else. So funny story, I've not blamed it on anyone else, but I have had them blamed on me before, which is not fun, especially when it's by a baby. Because when my daughter was little, she did this thing where it's like you take her out into public, like, little cute bundle of joy. You've got at this point, she's less than a year old. You've got her in like that little protective bubble car seat thing that you just kind of carry around, and it just fits into the buggy up front. I'm from the South, right? Because I'm saying buggy, into the shopping cart for all of you out there that do not know what a buggy is. There's my redneckies coming out. But you set them into that, and you just kind of push them around, right? You kind of keep them right there. That's like the best time in life because you just tote the baby with you wherever you go. And so she's sitting there and she would just kind of let out one of those little baby toots, and people would look at me and I would like laugh and then she would start laughing. So it was just this, it's hilarious because she would just toot and then people like look at me and give like this look of disgust. Like, and what are you going to do? Blame the 6-month-old? Like not me, 6-month-old. Like, yeah, not happening. Not happening. You just man up and you just own that one. You own that baby toot as if it were your own. So if you have any ideas for questions, never have I ever stuff, anything like that, send me an email. The easiest way to get a hold of me is just to slide into the DMs on one of our social media accounts, shoot it over to me, or you can just get a hold of me at thehopnerd@gmail.com or sam@thehopnerd.com and send me your questions. I would love to answer some of the wacky, wonky questions that you come up with. I think that'd be an absolute blast. Something else I was going to do today. So someone sent me this, how Southern are you quiz. So they sent me one in particular, and I'm going to try this out. I'm going to see how it goes. We're going to work through the questions and see how Southern I am, because I get accused of not being Southern because I'm from southwestern Virginia for some reason.